Welcome to the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon presented by Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service. Located at 3 Depot Street, Bryson City, and 530 West Main Street, Silva, North Carolina. Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service is your #1 stop prior and after your epic fly fishing adventure in western North Carolina. Visit tuckflyshop.com for streamflow information, book a guided trip, or even shop for your official Tuckasegee Fly Shop gear. Follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckasegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckasegee Fly Shop. Today's episode is brought to you by Norvise. From their original 1970s prototype to the latest Legacy C in 5 amazing colors: Radical Red, Sunset Orange, Shamrock Green, Royal Purple, Liberty Blue. Norvise has been committed to one thing: efficiency. By adding the Norvise Auto Bobbin to your Norvise, you can tie better flies faster. For more information, visit www.nor-vice.com. Here in our Silva studios today, we have Coach Dale Diesel Collins, Bobby the Bearded Wonder Bennett, and I'm your host, Shannon Big Mess Messer.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Man,
What's
Bobby, in that intro, you look like you're cramming for a test.
I am,
love
man.
it, man.
It's hard to see some of this stuff, so I have to like really focus.
He's over there
Bobby,
studying.
he has to work hard on that. That is you're trying to go
He
through
works
and
out.
coordinate that. I work out. I mean, we're back to the LMFAO. I work out. Well, folks, we have a really good episode here for you today. We have a special in-studio guest, author of the Casting Angles, MCI instructor, Mac Brown from Bryson City. So, Mac, welcome to the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon.
What's up, Mac?
Thanks, guys.
Mac, man, I hope one day that this Orvis hat I'm wearing looks as old as your Scientific Angler's hat. Like, that's just...
That's their retro hat.
That
man.
is-
This is retro.
That is OG.
It is retro.
And you probably actually bought that new 20 years ago, didn't you?
No,
That's not like a new hat that you bought now that already looks like that.
It's just old hat.
I like that.
For the most part.
It's just an old hat. We're glad to have you on here today, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Cheers to some Angels Envy. Compliments
Cheers.
of good friend Brandon Rainey here.
Thank you.
So
Brandon. Thanks,
Brandon brought the Buffalo Trace train down from E-Town, Kentucky.
Man, we got
So-
that call the other day. Was it Friday? He called us, and I didn't know when he's coming. He goes, I'm looking at a case. I mean, a pallet.
A
a pallet.
pallet.
He goes, I'm looking at a pallet. How many y'all
Buffalo
want? I'm like, maybe 1 bottle each.
Yeah.
There. So
They told him. He said, well, what's the limit? And so they had 17 left on this pallet, and he said, well, how many can I buy? And they said 17.
nah, got
That's
you.
pretty good.
Not like
business.
ammunition, then, is it?
That's
So-
business, man.
It's for sale.
Yeah, I tell you one thing. This is our splash of bourbon for today's
Hold it up.
episode. So, Angels Envy. I think when you get into a good bottle of bourbon, the bottle, just the craftsmanship into the bottle, is beautiful.
It definitely sells stuff.
I mean,
there's something cool about a nice bottle.
there's some women walking around Jackson County, Swain County with that tattooed on their shoulders.
Let me see it.
Mm-hmm.
The Angel's wings.
Oh, yeah. Like on their shoulder
I've
blades.
seen it. I've seen it down in Bryson.
Like firsthand here? What are we talking about?
I mean, just walking down towards the depot. I mean, you see it.
Yeah, no,
the gravel
those tank tops.
They've actually got it on Back Street. It's painted down here on Back Street, and you can go stand in front of it and have your picture made.
That's right. Those
Really?
Instagrammable
Yeah,
moments.
Oh,
it
yeah, on the
is.
thing.
It
Yeah.
is down there for sure. So if you want to have some Angel Envy wings when you're visiting the town of Silva,
That's right.
come and spend a little money with us first.
That's it.
Then walk to the Back Street, go down there and get your picture made with the Angel wings, and then go across and have your picture made in front of the Silva mural.
Just make sure the cars stop at the crosswalks, or you will really have
Angel wings.
angel wings
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
from Angels Envy.
That's right.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
So-
Thank you, Brandon.
So I've got a good little story of my weekend, real quick.
Oh, boy.
Before we jump into main topics.
Boogity boogity boogity.
So I went to the Atlanta race, NASCAR race, right? Went with Clint. You remember Clint?
Mm-hmm.
So he invited me. He had an extra ticket, and so we drive down there. And on the way down, he's like, "Yeah, guys, we're in his truck," and he's like, "Yeah, this thing crapped the bed on me this week." And we were like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, had to get a fuel pump put in it." I was like, "Okay, so it's all fixed, right?" "Oh yeah, they're great mechanics, great mechanics." So we get to the race and we go and do the souvenir thing. Finally get inside, man. We watch the whole race, have a great day, get burnt. You can tell on my face I'm a little burnt. Get back out, through the lines. It was actually nice, Mac. If you want to go to a NASCAR race with your boys, 25% capacity. Now is the time to go watch a NASCAR race. It is. You got tons of room. It's great. Yeah. Anyways, so we get back out to the truck, get everybody in it and everything. Clint goes to start it, sticks the key in. Nothing. It doesn't fire. It turns over fine, but it doesn't fire. He does it a second time. Nothing. And he looks at me, and I'm smiling because I'm thinking, oh, boy, I'm driving home tonight. It's going to be a long night because, it's like 7:15 at night.
And the racetrack's a good 3.5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and, even if you call a tow truck, they can't get to you because you're sitting in a parking lot with 20,000 people trying to get out,
Yeah.
So
that's average attendance here for the last 5 years, probably.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. They say that place holds 80, so I don't know if it's...
It holds quite a few.
Yeah.
They ain't sold out since 1998.
But Atlanta track does pretty decent.
So Clint, pats the steering wheel where the keys go, and he goes, don't do this to me, baby. Come on. So he pulls the key out, and he waits a second, and then he puts it in and flips it just to the radio's on. And then he cuts it off again, pulls the key out again. Come on, baby. You can do it. He sticks it in, turns it, starts turning it over, and it
oh, no. No.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So that little pattern he's got there, that tells me he's done that before.
Yes. Yeah. There's the sequence.
Yeah. He's like, I know if I just pull this key out right now, 1,000, back in, 2,000, turn, crank.
Hey, but if he couldn't have got it started and we popped that hood, my thought was, how many of these rednecks are going to be over here trying to help us diagnose this?
You're in a good place to break down. If you had to break down.
Would any of them be wearing a race jumper?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Would any of them be sober?
So we're standing in the souvenir line because one of his little boys wanted a hat. And
Bubba Watson hat?
No, it was he's a Martin Truex Jr.
Not
fan.
Bubba Watson.
You
Bubba
said
Wallace.
Bubba Watson, man.
Hold on, I'll get my
We're not talking about golf.
Let me get my Bubba Wallace. Bubba Watson.
So in front of us is a guy wearing a full. It's the cheap version, obviously the customer version, but it's a fire suit.
He didn't have that Simpson.
He had a fire suit on.
But it wasn't like the real deal.
I understand, but he still had kind of like a fire suit.
Oh yeah, it was head to toe, like one piece.
And he's an adult.
And I almost took a picture. Hey, I almost took a picture and sent it to Dale to say this would be Shannon if he came to this race.
No, I wouldn't go that far. No, I did have my headsets though. I had the scanners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was a scanner guy.
Yeah.
Hey, don't lie, Shannon. When you watch a Cowboys game, you got shoulder pads and a Dak jersey that you wear with a helmet on the recliner.
I don't have no jerseys. I have an old Cowboys football helmet.
That's pretty fun.
I still have my old Dallas Cowboy trash can. I still got a lot of old Cowboy stuff.
Yeah.
Tom Landry era.
Mac, you ever been to a NASCAR race? Mm-mm. You never have?
Mm-mm.
Man,
I grew up next to Bristol.
I'm going to have to stand up.
The dirt track, man.
Minutes.
There is nothing like somebody coming by. They're the race car driver they hate, and they're holding a beer.
Oh, boy. Here we
And they lean out, and they've got this weird lean. It's like this. And they're giving him the finger.
All the way through.
Going through.
All the way through.
Yeah.
It's like it's personal.
That's pretty
Oh,
funny.
it is personal. It is
It's
personal.
even better at Bowman Gray.
It is
Like
personal
'em all.
for those people.
Them fried Oreos fly on the track.
Well,
pretty good.
with the race, I'm looking forward to, and we'll get off the race kick here in a minute, but the Bristol,
that'll be
the
cool
dirt
this
track, a lot of those guys went up there Saturday evening and raced in Bristol and then flew back and raced
we
in
saw the Jets coming in before and after the
They
race.
were racing.
Did y'all see Kurt Busch past 30 cars in 2 laps? It was pretty crazy.
So the dirt track thing is going to be fantastic. But today's episode here, we'll get into some local happenings. We want to remind you an event coming up here pretty soon with one of our former guests. We'll get into a guide tip of the week as well as a fishing report. So definitely stick around for the fishing report. Some really good information. It's a great time to be here for sure. And we're, about 2/3 of the way through March, man. So
It's almost over.
I mean, it's a
almost
week. We got a week left.
I guess I guess we're
7
3/4.
days.
How about three
3/4
quarters away then? My apologies.
If I was a math guy, that's what I'd say.
You married a math lady.
I did. That's why I don't have to.
Nah, it's real good. Well, perfect. Well, Mac, thanks for coming in this afternoon
man.
and being here with us.
Thanks.
You were on the water today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so we're going
Got
to
a
get
little
an
rosy.
up-to-date fishing
Who'd
report
you
later.
fish with today?
Andrew and Callie.
Yeah.
That come in. The ones.
Give them a shout out.
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
Want to wish them
Chattanooga.
a happy honeymoon. They're
That's
on
right.
their
You said it was their
honeymoon.
All
honeymoon.
right.
That's awesome, man.
They
Yeah.
were awesome. Great folks.
Did y'all fish the Bryson stretch? Is that where y'all fished?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Today was the opening day of busy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of by myself
Yeah.
a lot the last few weeks, and today there was probably 15 boats.
It's because the Squirmies quit
Really?
working in Webster.
And I saw a big yellow banana boat come down on a flat
Yeah.
trailer. And I'm like, how are they going to put the other two people? There's just a rower seat.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did. If they're sitting riding the banana tubes because it's
Hey,
big, bright yellow.
they might have been like Justin in that hurricane story you told us about, where he was just hanging off the back.
That's it. You just hang on to the
No,
back of the
They were
kayak.
just,
Yeah.
floating through there.
trying to
hold the
get
handle.
through.
Yeah, hold
Just keep-
one arm
keep
on
your
the
feet
boat.
up.
This is also the anniversary though too. We should say that because I hadn't seen Bobby,
Yeah, I
really,
haven't
or
seen you in a
Dale or
year.
Shannon in the whole year.
That's right.
A whole year
because
man.
of COVID.
Yep.
I mean, because y'all
Yeah,
were
you-
up here and we
You
were kind of
laid
locked
pretty
down.
low.
I laid low for a good while.
I think we
Yeah.
all kind of took it serious
We
there
did.
first. And
Yeah. Jack and I
Until we
went
had to
home.
keep making money.
So it's our anniversary. So Dale, we got to.
Yeah. You want some more?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen.
It is
to that.
crazy to think about where we were a year ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this really is like the anniversary shutdown episode.
That's right because
is.
absolutely
Because Bryson City shut down first in terms of a county.
yeah,
correct.
Swain County did. Yeah.
And then I remember locking the doors on the Bryson City shop that
You and I-
night. We
you and I
packed it
walked
up,
out,
and it's like,
man.
I don't know if this is going to open again.
Right.
Dale's words were, "Go ahead and file for unemployment."
Is that what he told you?
That's what he told me.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
I mean,
what he
that's
knew.
what
I
everybody
mean,
was
that's
doing.
what he knew. And you know, I leave home that day not expecting to have to tell my wife, "Honey,
It's been real.
it's
been
real.
fun.
It's about to hit." But right, I mean, you look at where we are a year later.
I thought we were in a position where we would be able to, like, whatever, just keep going,
Yeah.
you know? But I've never seen anything turn off as fast as everything did then.
Yeah,
Right.
that was crazy.
It did turn on.
I mean, there was nobody.
Yeah.
Well,
they
the
were
only-
checking licenses.
the
coming
only
into the
silver
county.
lining
Yes.
for me was because I have two boys, 11 and 14 now,
Yeah.
and back then they were 10 and 13. So the one beautiful thing for me was that's a real busy time of year.
Mhm.
And then I was thankful because I was just getting over it myself.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was better, we had the whole river to ourselves every night.
That's right.
For 30 days straight.
Yeah.
Then it opened up. Of course, then we had to share it again. But I had to call the county commissioners and ask them, hey, is it okay to take my boys?
Yeah.
They just didn't want anybody doing trip. But it was awesome to fish with my kids for 30 days
Yeah.
in a row.
I
So-
got mine out there on the Jackson County
Yeah.
section as well. It was definitely some silver linings there.
Absolutely.
But it's crazy to see where we are a year later. Things are opened up. People are fishing,
That's right.
and
And we've all had it now. So it's
just
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So
a
these
lot
are the
of
last two hangouts.
I haven't had it
Holdouts.
yet.
Let's
Oh,
not
I'm
go
still,
there,
I'm
man.
still.
He survived NASCAR. Still doesn't have it.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's
good.
right.
We'll hope you stay that way.
I stayed.
right.
I stayed away from everybody.
Yeah.
I-
No, that's
I
good.
did my distancing.
And Shannon was doing good when I came in. He had his mask up. All I could see was his eyes like Kilroy holding the wall. You know, I was like, is that Shannon? Yeah. No, it looked good.
Oh, perfect.
Well, Mac, man. So we'll kind of dive into what is Mac Brown, and kind of get the meat and potatoes of the show going here. Meat and potatoes. So that's kind of relevant to you, right? I mean, that's kind of what is it? Scotch or Irish? What are you?
I'm Scottish and Irish.
He's
Scottish.
both.
Yeah, I'm a McLeod. So I'm,
Is that like Tiger Woods or?
no, but I'm mostly that's what was so fun having Andrew in the boat today. They're both Scottish and
Yeah.
Irish. So I mean, she had red hair, really light red hair, and he
Yeah.
has a big red leprechaun beard. And I was like, man, this is
I've
awesome.
I've got a little Scotch Irish. My mom's family's Mahaffey.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
cool. I hadn't heard of that
Yeah.
last name. Mahaffey.
That's the
Happy.
motherland.
yeah.
So a lot of this, with casting and space stuff, and it's just that's where I want to go visit as soon as we can actually travel somewhere
Yeah.
this summer. I'm gonna try
You
to go
sing,
over.
do you call it single malt or Scotch?
Single malt
There you
Usually.
go. All right.
for me.
Pure
yeah.
tea right here, boys. That's all right.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey man, we've talked many times in the shop. One of the most favorite parts of December, January, February in the Bryson City shop is the daily visits from Mac Brown, Jim Estes, Bob Gurnett.
Mm-hmm.
You come in, we just start shooting the breeze, talking all things fly fishing. How do we make this better? How do we get better?
Right.
And it's so fun because we always, I always learn something in that 3-4 hours. It's such a great time.
Right.
But, so tell us a little bit about guiding Swain County area for 25, 30 years. But then, so I had this written down and then I lost track here. Let me just start it. We've talked many times.
I got reading glasses.
Yeah, here,
I love it.
here we go.
Because I need those.
All right.
That'll
I
help you.
hope I don't recode
Sounds like
it.
he was better at the math number a while ago.
All right, here we go. We've talked many times about casting and instruction, and you have told stories about guiding in Swain County area for 25 to 30 years. But how did Mac Brown get into fly fishing, and who were the influences?
I got you.
Nice glasses.
Well,
Yeah, where'd
mentioned-
you first fly fish? Let's start with that.
How'd you start fly fishing, man?
Probably Merrimack River in the Ozarks with my granddaddy,
Yeah.
and we moved from Missouri in 1968, and so we lived in East Tennessee next to Camp Creek, and we lived real close to the Old Chucky River. So
Okay.
I continued doing that a lot around East Tennessee growing up. But I think the early seed, that's what was fun with the stories with Andrew today. I think a lot of us started with, I mean, my daddy really he never really took up fishing, much less fly fishing. So my granddaddy was really big in it. And who made me kind of see what was out there? Because East Tennessee, you have a lot of, no offense to East Tennessee, but when I grew up in the 70s, you had a lot of buggy whip casters that from here to the bucktail on the wall.
Yeah.
So I never really saw a proper,
We didn't need to, right?
layout back then. Yeah,
Yeah.
for small streams, and that's what you see a lot. But my granddaddy thought it was important to go out, and so I got to meet Jimmy Green when I was 16, who lived in Idaho, and that really changed my life. Because then I'm like, here's a guy that won the Worlds at 17 years old, and in Italy, and it's just like so much of the stuff he was doing. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Because I just hadn't seen it. You know what I mean? You don't know what's out there until you see somebody that you look up to. And so he was definitely one of my heroes as well as my grandfather. And then here, Jimmy, for sure, Jimmy, as you talk about, because Jimmy was my best fishing mate when I moved here. I mean, he'd always be like, Mac, we'd always take the same food. We'd always have just a peanut butter sandwich on white Wonder Bread. And we'd get way up in the park, and it'd become lunchtime. And back then, we drank out of the stream all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy would just have a little silver cup, looked like a credit card, and he'd hit it, and it would fold into a little trapezoid.
Yeah, remember those.
And we kept doing that for years until one day after we just had a big belly full of water after a sandwich. And we get up, and there was a dead deer about 50 feet upstream that had drowned, and it was all decomposing. And I thought, Jim, I think we need to do it a little different. You know what I mean? From then on, I quit drinking.
I took Jim to be a viney weenie guy. You know?
Oh, we had we'd take sardines a lot too.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like
there we
Louisiana hot sauce,
Yeah.
mustards. Yeah, that's good stuff.
go. So when did you hit the guide scene?
Yeah. When was like, hey, I'm going to do this as a living?
Because you posted something the other day about you on Good Morning America playing mandolin, and that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, it was about 30 years ago. That's when Seth was. That was mostly to help. Seth Taylor lived out there on Silver Mine, and he's just a savant with guitar and mandolin, banjo. He was playing the banjo for that. And Kate Snow, Connor was an infant, so that would have been 2006 because that's when he was born. He was just a new baby, but it was fun because you always see Kate Snow in the morning news. We'd watch her, and so it was kind of fun doing it. They built a special deck out over Nantahala Falls. So that morning, I think Seth played a tune called Lightspeed, which is an old Scruggs song. Man, I could barely keep up just chopping mandolin because he played it like Flash Gordon on the banjo. And it was just like, just to go chop, chop, chop. I was like, man, I hope I don't have to take a break.
Remind me
'Cause it's
about
too
that
fast
picture.
for me.
Did you or did you not have a fatty in during the shoot?
Oh, like a big old wad of tobacco? Yeah.
No, not during that.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. No, 'cause they wouldn't let you do that. But Kevin Tuck also lives in Bryson. And that's another good history of, fly tires in Swain County. Is his mom and dad are both deceased now, but his aunt and uncle was Fred and Aileen Hall, who did all the stuff with the hair wing flies. And so Kevin is a great fly tire. It's funny, as much
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
all
Kevin,
the years
yeah.
with Kevin, we always played music. We've never fished together, and I've lived there now since '86. And it's like we always talk about fly tying, but it's like one of those religious things where he likes to go do his thing, and I do my thing. And it's just, I don't know why, but we've never really fished. But I know he's a good hair wing tire.
Oh, yeah. That's
Like
right.
what Aileen did, because that's who taught him.
That's right. So was that 86 when you started guiding?
No, probably more like '87.
Okay.
Because I remember Payson Kennedy was the president of the Outdoor Center, and he had a party. Aurelia calls us. There was only like 4 or 5 couples there, and we're sitting around the table. And we had clinics for NOC. Bob helped teach them as well. And I thought, I want to do this for a living. So I said it to some of the people there around the center, and they just laughed. And of course, what happens when you get faced with failure before you ever start? You go, well, I'm going to show you that it'll work.
Yeah,
Nobody was doing it. And so when I thought, well, that's what I want to do. And of course, there's a lot of other people as far as, what was the question again? Who the influences?
No, well, that was
That
you
was the
answered
first
that, but like
Well, Jim
when did you
Castor.
start guiding?
Yeah.
Then in 87.
87.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the only reason I got on the radar is another Bryson City person named Jim Cassida that we got to give credit to.
That's
'Cause
right.
Jim wrote a lot of articles.
Yep.
And he was an outdoor writer, president of the Outdoor Writer Association.
That's right.
So what he did is he brought clout to the article. And he came up and I took him for a few days out, and then he went back and wrote some really beautiful pieces that put me on the radar. Because before that, I was just, thinking, am I going to eat potatoes all month, or am I going to get a trip?
So where were you
Early
guiding?
on.
Were you doing like just the national park area, or like?
In the early years, mostly upper in Nantahala.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the permits.
And that was
up
before
there.
it was DH. Because they didn't
That's
start
right. Well, I
stocking
didn't
until
get
what,
the
the
DH.
90s?
The DH started in 91 up there. So I was doing it back when it was,
Just all wild.
but it was good when it was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a nice stream.
Yeah.
And it had more rocks, we had more choices to go to. But Jim was really responsible for it. So I've told many people that if he hadn't have done that, we'd probably gone back being teaching kayaking or rafting because it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
So 87, here we are, was it 2021?
Yeah, 34 years later.
34 years. What kind of talk about the changes you've seen here
a lot
in
more
that time?
A lot more people on the water for sure. And it's funny because I think there's nexuses and everything, even nexuses to fish. I mean, like you in the
What's
right
a
spot,
nexus?
just where something crosses path.
Okay.
Like Shannon's on the water, there happens to be a brown trout that's hungry and happens to be his fly, drifts down where that fish can see it. That's a nexus.
I got you.
But the same thing with just the how events transpire.
Yeah.
So I mean, I never would have thought. And Gary, I've taught with Gary Borger a lot the last few years with these casting schools. Of course, I looked up to him too a lot as a kid. I read all his books on nymphing and presentation, and has a lot of really good educational books. But mostly the early years of Scientific Angler, looking at him doing here's how you fly fish, the Rick Hoffel videos and Gary Borger. They did most of those. So I would watch those as a kid going, hey, that's what I need to do. Because that's really, we didn't have YouTube and all that back when I was small. So those carried a lot of weight. And Doug Swisher as well was a part of those essay videos. But then you kind of see how everything, that helped us. Because the reason I'm saying Gary is because then that River Runs Through It came out in the early 90s.
Right.
Because it was still like so-so. Things hadn't really kicked into gear. The first big adrenaline over all those periods of years are really that. The River Runs Through It.
Right.
And then this many years later, COVID. COVID 21 was an absolute crushed that movie. Yeah. Crushed it.
How many years after that movie did you see the spike from River Runs Through It?
Probably the next 6 years.
Really?
Yeah, you get calls
So
from
pretty
housewives. Yeah, and they'd say, hey, my husband and I, we just saw the movie. But he's not the one that calls you. It's always the housewife because he's doing something. And she's like, we want to book because we saw the movie. So it brought interest. It definitely brought interest from like the urban areas close to us, like Atlanta, Chattanooga, Charlotte, Raleigh. I think there was a lot of interest in those cities when that took place.
What have you seen like in the development of like rods or fly tying materials, or like the changes in that? Like what's been some of the biggest stuff?
The biggest stuff?
Yeah.
The fly lines are a lot better.
Yeah.
The materials are a lot better.
Like fly tying material, like the synthetic?
Yeah,
type?
just looking at that wall of all the synthetic, you didn't have those choices back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very limited. So we'd look at stuff like Christmas tree ornaments, like the stringy gold and silver stuff, and think, how can we save that and use that for a fly?
Yeah.
I mean, but then they've made it fine-tuned where it's much finer and much, better to tie a fly.
Much more
being
usable.
Stiff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think those were big progressions for sure. I think rods have actually gone a little bit regression, to be honest, but I don't think they're where they were 20 years ago.
Is that because like everything's fast action?
Yeah, I think it's back to golf with Bubba is why. Like you go to a club tournament now, the clubs are 12 inches big. So like if somebody needs a club 12 inches big, they might ought to go back to something else.
Yeah.
Same thing. So
It
fly rods,
hides those mistakes.
That's right. So that's why rods are all way too stiff for the same reason. They're building them stiff to match.
Thank God.
No, I mean, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're overly stiff. So I think a lot of people that are like Shannon, you're close to my age, aren't you? Aren't we close? About the same
Shannon's
age?
I'm 50.
50 going on 70.
Well, I'll be 58.
Yeah, some days.
So 8 years apart, but he got to fish the rods like the HMG, the high modulus graphite Fenwicks, the Wonder rods from Shakespeare. He fished the actions that I fished as a kid.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those actions are actually, like the HMG is still one of my favorite. That was made in 1973. I was 10 years old. So there's a lot of rods like that. The early Discovery Sage rods, there's lots of them.
Yeah.
There's still some out there, but they're rare. They're rare to find, like medium action
Yeah.
to teach,
So what was the guide industry like back then? I mean, you said for 6 years after the movie, but like, what was your?
There wasn't a lot of guides.
Okay.
I had buddies. I had like 4 buddies across the state of Western Carolina, and it was like Theo and Hayden Copeland at Boone.
Yeah.
They ran Appalachian Angler.
Oh,
that was the only thing up there. I mean, now there's 6 shops in Boone, but back then they were the only ones up there. Roger, of course, in Waynesville. And that was pretty much it. And then when Kevin got in right there in the early 90s, Kevin Howell. So we had like a little coalition. We'd have we'd talk all the time in the winter, like, a couple times in the winter, just to talk with those guys and see, hey, how's it going? What's going on in your area? Because the only clout we had is for us 4 to band together.
So you think there was maybe more collaboration going on then than maybe now?
Oh, way more.
Yeah.
Because I mean, other than y'all, I don't talk to a lot of. Yeah. I mean, there's like 400 now between Asheville and Murphy, so it's like y'all the only 3.
No, there's only one, Mac.
There's only Tuck Fly Shop, but but you know what I mean. There was some good collaboration though, and sometimes.
Clark.
Yeah, that's good.
What? So now 34 years later, you've done the guide bit, in terms of spending your time on the water, 1-on-1, 1-on-2, whatever. Now it's more casting instruction, right? So you got the MCI. When did you decide that casting instruction was what you wanted to stake your claim on?
Yeah, because that's kind of what you seem to be known for. Like if you go to a show or something, people are like, he's a good caster.
So is that your legacy?
Cast.
I don't know. It wasn't really on my list, just indirectly. It's just that
It's your destiny.
when I was doing, it's more focused like right now, even for like the guide schools that I run. And casting is just one of the ways that I look at. A lot of people would debate it, but I really think casting defines the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so the better and better we can get other people to raise the bar, like Andrew today was fantastic. And I told him, he's looking at me like, I've been wanting to do this for 10 years on YouTube. I told him all the years teaching at Western Carolina, the first thing we'd do every semester with 30 students is go out and turn a curve to the right, the left, and throw straight the first day. Like Josh Stevens was in that. Tons of people that end up comp fishing. And they thought, really? And they thought, we can't do that. They did it in 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. It's just they hadn't been shown. So I think it does define it because the day was great dry fly. And so she went up just throwing beautiful curves and fish drift, come down, and, fish blow up on it.
Right.
So we talked about what happens when it's straight and all that. But the thing is, I knew they'd do it because of their age and,
the desire to learn, right?
And the desire to want it. So
Now, a curve cast is different than a reach cast.
right, it's just a curve.
Because a lot of people
like an L.
know the reach cast, but they don't know like how to curve a line like behind a rock or something like that. So it's a total.
It's just an L, like it goes out and then it dog legs 90 degrees, one direction.
Oh yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah, I mean it's like that's how you do it. But it's like it helps with the schools though for me. That's the hard part of this. Not the hard part, but it's an important part of the week-long school because we spend 10 hours the first day just on that.
Yeah.
People go, what in the world could you talk about in casting for 10 hours? But, I mean, we got all kinds of spay cast. There's all kinds of different configuration setups.
Yeah.
So once somebody knows their intent, that's where, even in gear choices, that's where, I mean, a lot of them, I know when Bryson last year, I mean, I know y'all got 4 nets of the year before COVID because people would go out and they don't have a magnet thing and they lose a brand new net. And they're like, I need another one. I was like, that's good. Bobby and Dale, they're going to be smiling. Then we'd find it a few days later out in the river. But I mean, people lose a lot of during the school. And there's always somebody lost a reel or somebody lost a net.
It happens.
They lost their whole pack. We had some stories last year where they lost their whole pack and we found it in the river. I got to tell this story real fast about Ken Kastorf because we were doing this during the school, and a buddy that was from Pennsylvania taking it, he lost his whole pack, and Ken's out there working the same day, and months went by, and I went back and floated it twice to see if I could find it. Months went by, and I'm telling Kastorf, hey, we lost a pack, and it had this and this. Ken goes, Mac, I found that pack. And we mailed it back to him, and we didn't tell him we were sending it.
I wasn't going to tell anybody. But.
Oh, it was fantastic because he wasn't expecting it. He thought it was gone. But, I mean, he had beautiful little small boxes just full of hundreds and hundreds of flies. You know how much time's in all that, so it's like that's going to make this guy's day.
That's pretty cool, man.
It's always nice to find something back recovered.
So in instruction, what do you find is the weakest link for the majority of people when they're trying to learn to cast?
Too much power.
Yeah,
everybody uses too much, so it's kind of funny. Like you say, okay, we're going to cast 40 feet, and it's not going well. They might have, floppy windshield wiper, whatever the reason. I mean, but whatever it is, what are they going to make up for? Yeah. Because of projectile sports is a guy. I mean, we got DNA that says throw it harder. If it's not working, back. Well, what's the funny part about casting to me still at this age is the more somebody tries harder, you already know that it's going to just fall apart.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's going 10 feet, and they're whipping it like a gorilla back and forth.
Yeah.
So I just think it's kind of funny, like the way people deal with it, because you don't ever see when you teach kids and women make up for power. And I think that's sports. We used to talk about this a lot with other instructors, but I really think it's the way we're brought up to where in a guy's world, if it's not going, throw it harder.
Yeah.
Something just happened. That's those
Yeah,
entities, we just got
that's to know that you just had a great idea. Like it just.
Hey, that's
what it
that's
was.
that UV light killing Corona in
That's
here.
what they call the light bulb moment right
Yeah,
there,
that's
fellas. But I think that's one of them for sure. And I just think it's also a lack of people go at it alone. I mean, I think that's the biggest problem.
You think they just like form bad habits? Is that what you mean when you say go it alone? Yeah.
Yeah, and then once those habits come, then it just makes it
It's that much harder
compoundedly
to
worse.
break it.
Yeah, because the kids, we had a little, those little mini practice rods when the kids were babies. Like year and a half, 2 years old, we played all these games in the living room. They already learned to cast before they were 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Now we got a skill, it'll last them all their life
Right.
just from playing those. But more in a game environment,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just making it fun. And then they get that down. And instead of doing it the other way where there's all these different faults and now we got to throw the garbage out to come in there with what needs to be built, I think that's way harder. for
Oh, yeah,
people
absolutely.
When they do it that way.
Yeah.
Because kids tend to pick it up like, sponges and makes it fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shannon, you're not picking up my mouth breathing, are you? This Angel's Envy's got me mouth breathing.
Does it really?
Like,
you going
Nah,
out?
it takes it out. You're good.
You got
Now that one, it might.
We got that one.
I just
Yeah.
realized
I
I'm
saw
mouth
that
breathing,
one.
and I know these mics are sensitive. So
You can usually see it if it's doing it.
that's some good stuff, y'all.
that was good. How about just one?
You mouth
just a little
breathing?
bit.
Yeah, Matt.
No, I've been talking, so I don't know if I was or not.
Well,
But it's good stuff. With that 10-day is probably the most valuable, is what I
so
was
that's
gonna
a
tell you.
10-day school that
Not-
you offer.
Not 10 I'm sorry, a week. The week long.
The week
but I
long.
think that first day of 10 hours is probably the most valuable stuff they're going to
Yeah.
pick up, because now they know the faults and corrections and how to diagnose and how to, they don't need me anymore. Now we covered everything to where anybody can film with a buddy, and they already know what to look for.
Now the school that you're doing, is that? I know you've been doing it for what, 2 years now, 3 years now, something like that. Is that more geared towards like guides wanting to get into the industry? Is it more for the everyday folk too?
I think it's just the folks that want to improve. That's what Andrew's been wanting to do. That was today with me, and I told him, I said, look, Andrew, most people are not doing it to be guides. Most people are doing it because they retired, they made a lot of money, and if you already got that recipe in your life, I'll do it to get better and fish Patagonia and New Zealand and never guide in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people want. They got the money. If you've already made all that money, you're probably not want to go be a fishing guide and watch somebody. Does that make
Well,
sense?
you don't want to do it as a hobby.
Well, I mean, it's an age thing too, because
Yeah.
if you're my age, if somebody's 58 and they're retired, but it's different. The ones that say, hey, Mac, I want to be a guide, they're usually 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
But the guys that have already worked and retired
And single.
and single, they don't want to, they probably don't want to make a career.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah. So you get a little bit of both. You get some people that are wanting to be a guide, and then
Yeah.
some people are just wanting to improve.
Probably about half and half, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's close to 50-50.
Cool mix.
That's good, because all I care is about they want to get growing,
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing. So
Yeah.
that's the fun part.
Yeah. Is it something you see that women are better at than men? I know that's a conversation we've had before. So
I got a message this is funny, from when the one we finished this weekend. We had a 2-day this last weekend, and Whitney Gold saw it, and Whitney's she has a lot of spey casting world records. She wins Golden Gate in California for the Spey-O-Rama. So I get a message from Whitney, and she goes, can Audrey and I come out there and do a women's clinic? And I'm like, absolutely. Because Audrey, they're both on the U.S. women's team with Maxine, and they're going to, got canceled this last year from COVID, but they do the distance and accuracy and all that in the world. There's only 4 or 5 of them in this country that go.
Yeah.
So they'd be fantastic for this region. So we got to get something with you guys. I want to get some people like Kevin and a bunch of people, because I just want to have them out to raise the bar for the younger women.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're both very polished. And so I'd like to see it come here just to help.
Heck yeah, man. That'd be cool.
Because a lot of women want to have kind of like what we're doing with Bourbon. They want to have like wine and cheese and women only.
I like wine.
So maybe they'll let us sneak in and just take some pictures and stuff.
I like wine and women and cheese.
Bobby's like, we're going.
Woman.
We're crashing.
One. Uno. I love you, baby.
But we need to have more.
14 years. Woo.
That'd be a lot of fun, though.
It would, man. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, I think we've all noticed that on trip. I think it comes down to that power thing, is that women don't force a cast.
Right.
They are better at timing and tempo rather than I got to muscle it.
That's right.
So they just kind of seem to flow through a cast a lot better.
And that's what's funny when you watch the monkey.
Yeah.
And it just piles up at 10
Well, it's
feet.
just like
I'm
using a knife. I mean, sometimes the harder you use a knife, the less it works for you.
I mean,
or
that's
all
right.
that stuff. I mean, yeah.
Golf.
Are you going to ask a funny guide story? Not a just a funny thing? Because this happened
If you
want
to
to
tell us,
Yeah,
a
tell
funny
us,
guide
tell us a
story.
good guide story.
I probably shouldn't tell this, but y'all will crack up. So we're at the put in above Nantahala Falls, come down. This is years ago, and this guy was from Highlands. He had his buddy from, they would go to Iceland. They go all over the world. Well, I just said, I was rigging up because I got to build all the leaders, right? So I just said, well, go ahead and pull your line out. Let's see what we got. And he's like, see what we got? You going to see me cast for it? I'm like, absolutely. Because I got to know what we got. So I look over, and they're going to do some roll casts, right? And he's just like, whoosh, buggy whipping through there. He sounds like a sonic boom every time just from hitting it. So he looks over and starts realizing within about 5 seconds, he goes, man, maybe I do have a problem. What do I need to do? I said, I think you're not hitting it hard enough. Well, he was already hitting it like Mach speed, right? Don't laugh, Shannon, because this is going to get me in trouble. But a few minutes, seconds later, I say, maybe you need to hit a little bit harder. About that time, he goes face planting out into the river. There's a concrete ramp that's hard to stand on. Well, there I got to drop my leader build and run down there, pick him up. Now he's upset, and I said, hey, maybe we should work on a roll cast. You know what I mean? And he goes, and his buddy, of course, needed to because he didn't even want to try after he saw his buddy fall in. So the next 30 minutes, boom, there's my teaching moment.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see what we got. That turns into face planting because you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever done the humor of saying, Bobby, maybe you're not hitting it hard enough. And then I found out what happened. I'm not going to try that
Are we
again.
still talking about fly fishing?
Yeah, we're on fly fishing.
Okay. They got
some
They got
trout.
a bill for that too.
Nantahala's got some trout. I heard they do. They're coming up in a few weeks.
There you go.
Yep.
What so this is kind of a this we could divulge into this for an hour,
Right.
but Mac, we can't. Okay. I got dinner.
Cliff Note version.
Cliff note version.
Okay.
What do you think? What expectations should clients have in their guide for a trip from any outfitter?
That's a good question.
Well, thank you.
Well, what we tell them, like through the schools, that's going to separate them, in my opinion, is if they bring them value. If they bring them value and to go on the customer's expectation.
The customer's value.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if the customer shows up, of course, we can't say, because Shannon, I know Shannon loves dry fly, and I love dry fly, and I like wet fly and a lot of things. But this happened a few weeks ago on a bachelor party. The guy had 4 suitcases of streamers that big.
Yeah.
Like multi,
Let's say going muskie fishing or
He wanted to catch trout. Because I just kind of laughed and go, my God. That's the nicest streamer boxes I've seen in years from somebody show up. So I'm like, I guess you guys want to throw streamers because obviously there's no dry flies, nymphs, or anything else. He's like, yep. So we get on the river and we get out about an hour. And they got a fish that hit and a fish that missed. One fish, hour went by.
Yeah.
Then I looked at my watch. I just thought, well, I'll just ask them, hey, y'all want to catch fish or keep throwing these big streamers?
The streamer hatch ain't happening.
Because the streamer hatch is raging right now. I don't understand where this really big stuff is coming from, but we put 2 wets. This is the funny part of it. So this is a bachelor party.
Game
We put
changers.
2 wets on, small wet flies, both of them double, first cast. And I look at them and just go, man. I mean, of course, they didn't have any of those, so I had to start reaching in and getting stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's the value of what you bring to get them away from whatever they're on. But
So it's not necessarily the numbers of fish. Are you saying that's the
no. So,
value?
like
what's the
today,
value?
I spent 2 hours just doing the casting stuff with them first. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the process of you're going to have a cast, you're going to have to get a drift, you're going to have to set the hook, play the fish, and land the fish. There's 5 core components. So everybody wants to go, Bobby, I've got the cast. Then Shannon might say, I know how to set the hook. But if we don't address the other 3, then we still didn't get to it.
Yeah.
And the only way it's going to be found out on the trip then, in my opinion, is to fail.
Yeah.
Hold the rod up here and, it fell off. All these mistakes that happen. We can
Yeah.
prevent all those by just talking about it first. But, everybody's different. So you get one person, he's overachiever. He makes, $50 million a year, and he don't want to hear any of that.
Yeah.
Dale, let's just hit the water. Let's catch a fish and skip it all. So that's one of the frustrating things I think about guiding is to be put in that situation where they're already close to learning anything, and you're just getting paid to watch them make mistake after mistake, and they still don't want you to tell them because then it's going to be like hurting their pride.
yeah.
So I try to send those people somewhere else. I ask them all this. So I've gotten better at older age. I really do.
So if we
I
hear somebody
assess the
said, Matt
clients.
Brown said, call y'all.
No. But I mean,
We know.
but you have to assess it to see if it's a match. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah.
a match of something I want and they want?
That's right.
And if it's not, it's better for me to tell them, here's a better option.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I think everybody's happy,
Yeah.
by doing that. But
No, that's good.
But everybody's got expectations. We learned that, over the years the hard way.
Yeah.
Because you got something you want them to do, but it's not about It's what they want to do.
There's a give and take on both sides. There needs to be client to guide and guide to client.
And I think that comes from the assessment. The assessment of asking them questions, and that's a good thing to do. I know I've been in there a lot of times with Shannon down there in Bryson. He does a good job. He asks him, "Well, what do you want to do?" I mean, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Because then they're set up already what they're going to get.
Yeah,
and I think that's good. I mean, to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, what's one of the best moments teaching you've had? Like something where you were like, man, I remember this moment where somebody just like amazed you or whatever. Was it something with your kids or?
Teaching moment. Fishing moment's easier, but teaching moment.
Well, yeah, like doing instruction on
teaching moment would be just. I'll tell you one because y'all were up there a few years ago when we went up to Virginia to that show. Remember we went out and ate dinner. Well, the next day, this is a pretty classy moment because there's a group on roll casting. They both says talk about roll casting for this club. I'm like, okay. So we have a PowerPoint thing, little pictures of here's a roll cast, here's why we use it. And there was a lady in the front that was probably 74, and the whole other room was all men. But none of the men wanted to try it. We get done. She goes, I really want to try that. And so I get out there, and all the men overheard it. And like, oh, we're going to go watch this grandmother, see if she can do it.
Yeah.
So I pull it out to like 55, 60 feet. And, I mean, she already had it. So I had her pantomime the motion when she's pulling her elbow down, like, pull the trucker horn, like Bobby the mad truck driver. Next thing you know.
He actually does have a trucker.
I watch her do it.
NASCAR race.
And as soon as her hand does the motion properly, where it pulls back a little bit, I know she's ready. So I stick the rod in, and there's like 25 old men watching.
Yeah.
And she nails it, 60 foot perfect, better than every one of them have ever tried.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And they can't believe that Grandma did it on the first attempt. That's a pretty
awesome.
Powerful teaching moment.
Heck yeah, man.
Because then she gave me a hug, and I was just like, that was awesome. But I mean, it's cool when people go that fast at something that other people think is difficult, and they got it first
Well,
time.
it's interesting to talk about roll casting because I feel like before, what's the old Loomis rep? What's his name?
Leslie.
Leslie Holmes. I'm going to see Leslie next week.
Well, tell him we said hello.
I will.
We're bragging on him. I was at the December Asheville show. I guess it was the last time they actually did it.
Yeah.
Right. He was
4
up
years
here.
ago or so.
Yep.
Man, before working, I spent 5 minutes on that casting pond with him. We had a I'm gonna say it, an Asquith.
And I, okay, the rod. Yeah.
I'm talking about a fly rod, folks, the Loomis.
Yeah.
But we had that rod out there, and we were going to roll it. Man, I feel like after working with him, I was just lobbing line.
Oh, yeah.
Because, man.
But Leslie's one of the top teachers in the world. Really. Yeah. He really is.
When that pantomime pulling the truck, man, I shot that line out there on a roll cast. I feel like I didn't know anything before.
Oh, he's a brilliant
So
teacher.
there's a lot of value. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of value in talking about these things, breaking them down on land before you get out on the boat, before you get out on the creek, and end up in trouble. Because I know one of my first experiences in the saltwater down with Joel Dickey, this was, when did we go down there?
2010?
2010, 2009. Went down there with Joel tarpon fishing. I mean, he's spending an hour on the front of the boat talking to us trout guys how to properly double haul. Because, again, I didn't know anything
and
before.
strip set. Don't forget the strip set.
Don't forget the strip set. It's like.
So you don't want to go on these trips.
Right, unprepared
and lose valuable fishing time to that instruction.
Yeah. I think that's an important point, that if you live in Charlotte or Raleigh, that just because Mac guides for trout, he can still teach you how to throw a 70-foot saltwater cast to a tarpon, permit, bonefish, whatever. Like, don't take, this guy only cast 20 feet. Like, you could come here and learn something that can help you on that a trip that you just spent $10,000 on. Like, you don't want to spend $10,000 and then get there and not be able to perform.
That's right.
Like, go to all that money to go to New Zealand, and then
that happened last year. Actually, there was a couple of them that were going to Iceland. One of them was going to Argentina before COVID, the year before. But the funny thing is, they come down the mountain. Well, you know what mountain I'm talking about. They come down the mountain, and they're going in 2 days. And they're coming only because Bobby, Shannon, and Dale always do better, and he wants to be better in 2 days of practice beforehand. And I'm always just cracking up, going, "Are you kidding me?" Well, no wonder he's still the same spot 30 years later.
Yeah.
And I didn't say any names, but it's really common.
Yeah.
It's not like a magician. Like,
right.
You got to do all these things like a process.
Yeah.
Just like playing guitar or mandolin or fiddle or whatever, but it's not like a pat on the back and, "Oh, buddy, you got it."
Yeah.
You'll get some improvement, but you need repetition enough to put it in.
Yeah.
The memory.
Oh, it's
where
the
you
same
can do
thing.
it.
Like professional athletes, I mean, they do stuff over and over and over. And
Tens of
over again.
thousands.
Well, you just
For
said
repetition.
that memory. I mean, that's
Yeah.
those practicasters. It's not about replicating a loop and a cast. It's about that muscle memory.
That's right,
know?
of how to do it over and over. Then the wind picks up 20 miles an hour. Now we have a new constraint.
Yeah.
And then it changes direction. Now it's on our casting shoulder, another constraint. So it's all those examples.
But when I'm casting,
So-
when I'm practicing casting in the wind, I like to cast with the wind.
Yeah, with the wind. So just throw it way up high and hope it's windy enough to straighten
That's
it.
it, man.
Is that what they ask you when you're on? Hey, can I turn the boat?
Like
so
Joel,
that
Joel, turn this boat for me, brother.
Yeah.
Let's improve my cast here.
Well, the
Just
thing
let it
ab-
go.
the thing about practicing though, you've got to practice the right way.
yes,
It's
yeah,
you can go practice,
Yeah.
as Allen Iverson would say.
I mean, we talking about practice.
But our captain was you fight like you train and you train like you fight, and there's a lot to that. So if you do proper practice, proper technique,
Right.
that's the way you want to practice. Just don't
Yeah.
go out. If you do archery, just don't go out and shoot 100 arrows just to shoot 100 arrows. You want to
That's
do
right.
it properly. I'd rather shoot 25 proper arrows than 100 improper arrows.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And
No, that's
so I
perfect.
mean that's the one point.
and there's
that you have to
nothing
do
like having somebody stand there and look at it. I remember I asked
And
Mac
feedback.
this. I asked you this several years ago. I said, man, why do we need casting instructors now when YouTube's got a billion videos about it? And you told me the perfect answer. There's nobody there telling you what you're doing wrong and giving you feedback. You
Mhm.
think you're doing it right because you
Mhm.
watch that video,
Right.
and then you're totally wrong while you're doing it.
It could be
You know?
because YouTube doesn't talk back, does it?
No,
It's like,
no, it doesn't.
man,
give
I
you-
sure don't look like Maxine McCormick still. I mean, that little girl was torn up the world in a blaze with accuracy and distance and all that. With first one, I
Yeah.
think, was 9 years old, then again at 11.
Yeah,
So the funny thing is, there's also pride even with the women, because the Norwegian women, the Finnish women, there's some powerful Viking women that are world champions, And they see this little girl from America come that Chris Korich, my buddy, taught. I mean, literally 9-year-old kid. So she throws like perfect score. I mean, just imagine the humble part that happens with these big, powerful
Yeah,
women. They're
yeah.
looking at a 9-year-old kid that weighs 85 pounds
that
wet.
slings it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. And then she comes back at 11, and they all think, well, it must be a fluke. That's
Yeah.
how women do the same thing as guys. I mean, it must have been a fluke. He just got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about denial, man.
yeah,
Well, now it's 3 in a row.
yeah.
Now, it'll keep happening until she decides she wants to do something else.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, so it's kind of funny how that works.
So when's your next school?
April 21st.
Is it already booked up? Or,
Mhm.
yeah. When's
Yeah.
the one after that? Do you know yet? Have you scheduled another?
I have one in May.
May.
It's there, and I can't remember the date.
Are you doing them
you
kinda
put me on the
monthly?
spot. Yeah, well, not all month. I do 8 of them a year.
8 a year?
So we do 6 in the spring and 2 in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, because then as soon as it's like not in season, like summertime, I could do them in the summer, but I just don't think it would be good. If you're
Yeah.
talking about like all these things for trout, I mean,
Well-
we'd have to do smallmouth and other things,
Right.
Yeah.
which I like that. I'm just saying that most of these people want to think about getting better at trout.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if it's, 70-degree water temp, I just not as excited going, no, we need to take off a little bit now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go up Hazel and cast them carp, man.
A carp. There we
Carp.
go. But I like smallmouth. If we could have a fishery like
Yeah. Some of the
the
others.
good old days.
Yeah.
Good old days, yeah.
I've seen some big ones getting pulled out. Some of them have gotten big since that.
Mhm.
What year was that storm that like scoured the little Tennessee?
2004, wasn't it?
Oh, it was big.
Ivan.
That was big. Yeah, I paddled
So-
it. I came down from Franklin to the bridge, going to the gorge.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was really, really quick time, though. It was flooded. It was like 35,000 CFS.
Gosh.
So I mean,
there
we're
was cows. I mean, you're talking about Appalachia. It's like being in China. There's cows floating down the river. There's propane tanks floating
Did y'all
down
see
the
that
river.
house floating down the Watauga?
Yeah.
I think that was Watauga.
Was it? I didn't see that.
House.
Mhm.
so I mean we're 15, 16 years from that. So there should be some sizable smallmouth getting back in there. And I've
They're
seen
getting
some
back in.
pictures, but it just takes time to repair that after
Yeah.
something like that happens.
Catastrophic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big event.
Yes,
Yeah.
very catastrophic.
It's one
Well,
of those
man,
things.
thanks so much for sitting down with us. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
How can everybody reach you? Like, give your plug, the website, phone number, whatever you want to put out there.
Well, I mean, just fly fishing guide school is what I'd rather. If they're
Okay.
interested in the school, and I mean, that's fine. Just
Yeah.
look that up. And it's pretty easy. Just fly fishing guide school, and that'll have all the info.
Okay.
is it?
We can
Yeah.
put the link in the description.
Yeah, we'll throw it in.
as
there you
well
go.
as your book as well. You have
Yeah,
those for
where do they
purchase.
where do they buy your book at? Is it just call you or is it on Amazon or
No, it's funny because people always go, "Man, I was going to buy that book," but
Well,
it's limited supply
we-
because I have all the stuff.
We used to have it in the shop.
So they go, I saw that on Amazon. It was $800. So okay, can I get one from you? I'm like, yeah, but it'll cost you $4.
Are you like
Just
gluing,
supply and demand.
But we do have it. We have them still.
you in there gluing the pages together at night?
Yeah, I'm gluing them up.
He's binding them up.
Binding up the
Just got an
books.
order. Got
Yeah.
to bind the book up.
No, but it's good.
Let me type out this page.
Yeah, it's good to see y'all again, man. It's
Yeah.
it's
It
been
has,
too
man.
long.
It has.
It has.
Yeah, some good stories down there for sure, man.
Yeah.
Mike's the only guy I know that can be telling the story and not skip a beat. He open the front door, the way it goes, and come back, and
That's
it's
right,
still
man.
going, man. Same
Spit
sentence,
bush, man. That's
He's
that
the man.
bush that gets fertilized with spit.
He the man.
That's crazy.
All the tobacco juice between James and Mac and Jim and
Yeah.
Jim
Absolutely.
Mills. Jim Mills. has
Old
a little-
Jim.
Yeah.
We were talking to Jim over the day on Messer Fort.
Yeah.
Messer Fork. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were walking down the trail. He was getting ready to leave. He saw us walking down the trail. We were up there fishing with Steve Hoovler.
Yeah.
And Jim was talking to us, and he just had that. It was just like old school, like
Oh yeah.
purity America. But
Yeah.
That juice.
the
Yeah.
juice was running
Yeah.
down the creases of his cheeks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I would totally be throwing up at that point. He never spit. The
Oh,
whole
yeah.
conversation.
He was
never
swallowing,
spit.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'd have
pretty
thrown
good.
up 3 times.
That's perfect.
We
What's
saw that a
next,
lot.
Shannon?
What's next?
Fishing
Shannon?
report.
Well, we
Report.
got to get a report. We
Oh,
got to
let's-
get
We got a lot
a.
to do.
Let's throw this
Gotta-
announcement out for this event.
Let's
Dale-
go ahead
Dale,
and get
talk
the
about
lo-
the event.
All
I'm gonna
right,
put you on the spot there, Dale.
so we started clearing some space today in the shop. Mac, you know Phil Watford.
Mm-hmm.
We've had his artwork up in both shops here for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Great local artist. Phil helped us make some space today. We got an event coming up April 17th. Brian Hester of Hooked Fly Company. We've had him on the show. He'll be here bringing his art to showcase on that Saturday. He'll set up Friday. We'll have all the walls pretty much covered up with his artwork. I think he might be able. We're not sure with some of these fixtures in the front window, but he might take over the front window display too. And then we'll have some of his artwork on. We'll have prints, apparel, and originals.
You've seen his stuff, haven't you?
Oh,
he
he's
was at
great.
Virginia.
He's
yeah.
great. I used to work with Phil back in the 80s.
No, no,
Well,
I'm talking about Brian Hester.
Yeah.
Oh,
The guy that's coming on April 17th. Have you?
I don't know Brian.
You-
I don't
He's
think.
out of Charlotte.
You saw his stuff
I know-
probably
I
at Virginia.
Yeah,
at
he's
that show.
been at the Virginia
yeah,
show.
yeah.
He
He
had
went
like
out
a
to
whiskey
Texas.
glass with the brown trout in
Oh
it.
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I do know.
Yeah.
I know who you mean.
He
Yeah.
painted me a
Yeah.
a Buffalo Trace bottle with my reel leaning up against it. It
Yeah,
it
he was.
pretty
He
cool.
was at. He was also up at Edison last
Yeah,
year.
that's
Yeah,
right.
I saw him
yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so he'll be here. Diehard App State guy, and
So everybody from Western, come give him a hard time.
Well,
yeah.
hey, so I'll share this text.
so go ahead and
this
share,
is kind of
share,
PG-13.
share this one.
This
Share
is
this
pushing
one.
it, but
yeah.
he was texting me today, and he's like, "Hey man, will my trailer with the big old Block A get rashes in front of the shop?" That's what he texted at Block A for Appalachian State.
Yeah.
And I said, LOL. And he said, sorry, autocorrect. I meant to say trash. And I was like, yeah, the rashes are what you get in Boone.
Yeah.
So
Right. Right. If you're
That's pretty good.
if you're expecting parents and you didn't know what to name your newborn, Brian can give you some intel on what to name your newborn, what the going names are
That's
these
right.
days as
'cause
well.
He's a teacher.
So
He's heard them all.
he's heard them all.
Mac, we were fishing down there in Bryson. He hooked a big, there's some guys on
yeah.
the bank. This is Brian. There's some guys on the bank from down south throwing like an 8-weight
Yeah.
just off down there by the pier
Yeah.
by Island Street. And Brian hooks in this massive brown trout, and we get it landed, and this dude just went ham. Woo! Yeah, baby. This ain't JV. This is varsity.
Yeah.
Like,
Just yelling at those guys doing that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
this is the
that's-
real deal.
That's the real
Like,
deal.
I was almost embarrassed, but like, you know what?
That's
We'll let this
funny.
dude have this moment.
That's Brian.
So April 17th, guys, come
Perfect.
check out varsity version Brian Hester and his artwork. It'll
Perfect.
be here all day, and we'll probably have a good time that evening as well.
I'm
at
sure.
Some watering hole.
I'm sure. Well, good deal. Just remind everybody that this week's fishing report is brought to you by
Norvice.
Ty, Better, Flies Faster, and
Efficient.
It's efficient. That's what they
Love
say.
it.
Can we say hi to Tim?
Oh, wrong one.
you say hi just right there.
Hey, Tim.
He looked at me.
So you
and
looked
said
at
that.
him and he waved. Hey, Tim.
Is that one?
that's
one-
you,
Hey,
We've
Tim.
got hey Tim.
You could. Hold on. I don't have
Tell
the
the
camera on you.
O'Neills hello.
Wait, let's
Mac, I never want to see you look into my eyes like that again.
Well, I thought that was my camera.
look into
I
my
forgot.
eyes.
So, Mac, what was working today, man? Give us the on the water report. What you have?
Dry fly was better today
Was it really?
than all the stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It actually had some.
It really was.
Some guys come in that I guess they were fishing from the bank because I don't know if they wanted to wait or
Was
not.
it
They
8
said
weight?
they said that they had luck on dries. So
Yeah, we had a lot of folks. I know in the morning when I went out, because I kept looking around all the other boats to see, if we're 30 fish behind or not, and I didn't see a lot of this. And when they all had bobbers, and then I thought, we don't want to go there about how I feel about bobbers, but I was just thankful the good Lord blessed us with lots of dry fly stuff today.
The dry fly bite this spring has been amazing.
yeah, it's been really good, man.
I love dry fly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to have somebody see, whoosh, you can't get any better.
That's
than
why
that.
we do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Me and Dale fished the park Saturday, man. It fished great,
mhm.
like great. It was good. Steve had luck on nymphs. You were doing dry dropper. I was doing straight dries. We all had eats. We all caught fish.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mhm.
man, it was great.
That was the most fun I've had fishing in a while.
Steve got like a 16, 18-inch
Yeah.
rainbow, wild rainbow.
Big old
Yeah, you got a
wild.
trophy.
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
beautiful. I'll show you that picture, Mac. It's a beautiful fish.
That's all.
So, yeah, the dry fly activity, come hit it up, man, for the next few weeks probably.
Yes, real good, y'all.
Pretty
And
good.
I was tying thunderheads.
Yeah,
That's a good
all
one.
weekend, huh?
Oh, that's what I did all weekend is tie thunderheads when I
Just
felt
tie
like it.
thunderheads.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And ate applesauce.
That's a good one. I mean, that's a good favorite one right now.
Yeah.
But I was going to tell Shannon just because I know how many Catskill style flies that Shannon and I threw. I mean, we tied that as a kid. That's what we learned to tie.
Yeah.
But one thing that's funny.
Explain what a Catskill so people understand.
Just from the New York. I mean, with the March Browns and the
Yankee
Hendricksons. and
flies.
We tied a lot of Catskill flies as kids. And
Yeah.
so I fished this Catskill fly that's just a March Brown. And it's got a wood duck wing.
Mm.
And I fished this same fly for trips for the last 2 weeks. That's
Yeah.
all I fished. Single March Brown like Catskill fly. And the beauty of it is you don't need any gink or desiccant or anything. You get it slimed, you just throw it right back out, and
Yeah.
it keeps floating because
Yeah.
it's such light wire, and the way it's built, there's just no weight.
Yeah.
And it reminded me because I remember telling Shannon, the reason I'm saying this is a couple years ago. Shannon, I really like this CDC and all this stuff, but you talk about pampering, so much
Oh,
easier
yeah.
throwing those old
Oh,
school flies.
Those old school flies they're better. They last longer too,
Mm-hmm.
and the rattier they get.
Everybody just likes
the better
listening to
they
Davey
fish.
McPhail talk about CDC.
That's it. But I still appreciate the stuff we did as kids. I mean, that we
Yeah.
taught as kids.
My go-to's
Oh, yeah.
been this parachute hare's ear, man. That thing is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like my new favorite fly,
It's simple.
parachute hare's ear.
I fished it right beside. So you had the parachute hares ear. I had the parachute Adams. Parachute hares ear. I fished the Adams.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
crazy how well that
And it's
works.
just like a half shade different.
yeah.
You
on
didn't
the-
pick up the Rapidans either, did you?
No,
You
should have
would've-
taken those. I
you
bet those would've worked
That
well.
would have outdone both those.
Yeah.
I believe it.
That color, that fly right dubbing color, is perfect on that.
You'll have to
You
show
know,
Mac
it's
those.
number 38. I think it's 38. You know the color I'm talking about right there. That color right now is money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, if I'd have had 'em, I'd have
Cash
tried
money.
it.
Cash money.
I'd have tried it. for
Cash
sure.
money.
Did y'all see any leprechauns?
I saw a leprechaun today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you fished.
Hey, what about St. Patty's Day? Can we talk about what y'all did on St. Patty's Day?
Yeah.
I
Just real
worked. I
quick.
think I was working.
But I had to work
Then
too.
we looked for
But
Alabama
I-
leprechaun in
I
there
don't.
somewhere.
I don't think I can. I should say what happened to me.
I
want to
know what a goal at.
Well, did y'all have a good St. Patty's Day?
I did, man.
Good.
Yeah, went
did.
to the doctor.
That doesn't sound good.
Got a checkup.
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah, he got his 50-year-old checkup.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, no, I mean you're supposed to, man.
Well, the best part is, we. Did you hear that?
Is that
People
leprechaun?
in the
I
background.
thought some people
That's
came.
the audience.
But the best part, my wife got some stuff at Christmas called Alexa, and you just walk around the house, go, "Hey Alexa, play me this." So,
Yeah.
so at St. Patty's Day, of course, we're still social distancing, sitting at the house. So I like a lot of Celtic music. So I'm walking around the kitchen, doing dishes, getting everything cleaned up after dinner. I just say Alexa, and I just start naming bands, like Celtic bands. Play me some Liz Carroll. Plays a lot of Celtic fiddle up in Chicago. She's a phenomenal fiddle player. Play me some Natalie Merchant. And it's like, boom, all these different
Yeah.
fiddle players. So I was like, Jennifer, this is the funnest dishwashing time I've ever had. Because, I mean, you could just play whatever you
That's the
thought
reason
of.
she bought it, so you do all the dishes.
And plus, we had a little Irish adult beverage.
Ladder,
Well, that was a good day, but I've always liked St. Patty's.
Perfect.
St. Patty's Day.
Perfect.
Hey Shannon, thanks for not running the water today during the fishing report.
I don't
Oh,
have
you
to go to the
did.
bathroom
You
yet.
forgot about the water.
Hey, do it.
There it is.
Ooh.
Sorry, Randy. We almost made it.
There's the water.
I love it.
Randy's
And I
having
just-
to pull over right now.
I just mesmerized here, man. I'm just leprechauns and
Applesauce.
So,
apples. I appreciate that. Man.
so the guide tip of the week. And
What
this
is the guy tip of the week? Bobby?
This is a simple one, but I think it's that time. And the reason I'm picking this one is because when we were fishing the other day and you were climbing down that wall, You said, man, don't fish here when it gets any warmer because this is a great place for snakes.
What?
Have y'all seen any snakes yet?
What?
Out and about?
I've not.
I've seen one, and he's little. So they're starting to come out. So
They have a yellowtail.
hey, watch out. No, it didn't have the little yellow tail like copperhead. Thank God. But
I hope they stay little
yeah.
all summer.
so be mindful of that when you're climbing around in some of these rocks and stuff.
Yeah, yep.
That the
a very good
rattlesnakes and stuff like to be out.
Very good point.
And
You know, those
Be
guides are always looking around for liability.
that's right. That's right.
We're a long way from any
And
venom.
it's-
Yeah, you don't want to have to pay for antivenom. Well, I think we mentioned this last week.
We did,
but
yeah.
we
We kinda
might as well throw it out there again as a safety guide tip of.
Yeah, that wasn't the guy
Oh,
tip
yeah.
last week, but you're exactly right. It's certainly coming. We thought
You ever been bit by rattle or copperhead or anything? No,
Copperhead.
you have.
Yeah.
Oh, tell us the
Did you
story. Now I
survive
got to
it?
hear the story.
No, I just was
did you
working a
survive?
wood pile in the summer, and I just didn't really have gloves, and I was just moving it around,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I felt like a little sting. It actually hurt way less than like getting hit by a yellow jacket or something.
Yeah.
Because it
No
didn't really
kidding.
hurt. And I looked down, and saw a copperhead, and I was like, man, I think that thing bit me. And I had 2 little holes, but it really wasn't painful. You know what I mean? Until a little bit later, but it bit me on the arm.
Did you go to the hospital or
Gnarly.
anything, or you just let it work its way out? Because that's what I've heard. A lot of people just get bit by a copperhead. They don't.
I didn't go to the hospital, but it just swelled up
Man,
a
this
little
is
bit.
mad.
But your adults can give it a dry bite where your baby
that's it.
copperheads will give you a full venom bite.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But yes, an adult copperhead will give a dry bite at
Oh,
times.
no kidding.
Yes,
Yes.
right. I
'Cause they
think
don't
I
wanna
got a
waste
dry
it,
bite.
right?
That's right. This is where your little with the yellowtails, man, they're worse than an adult in some cases.
That's right.
Because
I mean,
they can't control it. It's
Shannon's
just boom.
right. I remember this as a kid. At my old house in East Tennessee, we had a bunch of them that were babies, and I was picking them up like earthworms, playing with them. My daddy come down and goes, "Son, those are the ones that have all the
That
poison." I'm like,
explains
"Really?"
it.
But what
That
I have at
explains
home, a good thing is in the guide in the first aid kit is those Sawyer extractors, and I carry
Yeah.
those, even though it was a dry bite, because they're going to have maybe an infection. So you put that on, it'll blow your skin up like that far and suck you know what I mean? Because it was bleeding. Where
Yeah.
it hit,
Yeah.
and I think it gets it all cleaned out pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then just scrub it with some soap and water. Iris Springs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Iris Springs.
Shocker.
Little Iris Springs.
Oh,
Give it a little rub.
Oh my goodness.
No, I
Well,
enjoyed
perfect.
it, fellas.
Watch out
Awesome,
for the
man.
sneaky
Thanks for
snake.
coming, man.
Good guy tip.
It's good, man. I hadn't seen you in, gosh, over a year, man. Honestly,
It's so fun to sit
It's-
down and talk. We laugh a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's what makes it fun, man.
absolutely.
I love it.
All right,
Well, let's wrap it up.
let's
Take
go,
us
man.
home.
Let's go home.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mac.
Thank you.
Tight lines.
That wraps up another exciting and informative episode of the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon, presented by Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service, located at 3 Depot Street, Bryson City, North Carolina, and 530 West Main Street, Sylvan, North Carolina. Be sure to visit www.tuckflyshop.com for streamflow information, book a guided trip, or even shop for your favorite Tuckasegee Fly Shop gear. Follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckasegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckasegee Fly Shop. If you have a question or comment, feel free to send those to info@tuckflyshop.com or give us a call, 1-828-488-3333. For Coach Dale Diesel Collins, Bobby the Bearded Wonder Bennett, I'm Shannon, Big Mess Messer. We'll catch you next week. Be sure to catch a few fish out there, won't you? Y'all take care.